friends, it's Christine Vicente with Queen City Stamp Art, and today I'm participating in the North Carolina Demonstrator Blog Hop, and the theme of this hop is 2025 to 2027 Stampin' Up! In colors. I've chosen the Darling Duckling as my focal color for the project today. I'm going to be sharing a fun technique called the stack, cut, and shuffle technique. And it's a way to use designer series paper to create multiple cards at once with one set layout. So I think you're going to enjoy the technique, and let's get into some card making. Okay, ladies, so before we get into the actual card making, I just wanted to point out that I do have a free printable app on the blog. There's a link. You can download this little PDF of the stack, cut, and shuffle technique. It gives you all the measurements and then the directions for shuffling it, and a little diagram showing how it's laid out. Excuse me. So go ahead and download and copy that for your idea binder if you keep one. And then I wanted to also show you some of a closer look at the yellow papers that are in our collection and how Darling Duckling, which is the color I'm featuring, will fit into this color scheme. So we're going to be talking about these in colors 2025 to 2027. We've got Strawberry Slush, Timid Tiger, Darling Duckling, Cloud Cover, and Secret Sea. Those are the colors that are in that little collection for the next 2 years. The colors that are in the current Stampin' Up! Catalog that are yellow in our current collections are Lemon Lolly, which is in our Subtles collection. We've got Daffodil Delight in the Brights, and we have Crushed Curry in the Regals. So you can see this is a really nice graduation of color, light, medium, and dark. Darling Duckling is the in color, and it kind of fits. You could kind of put it here because it's a little cooler than the Daffodil Delight. It's a little darker than Lemon Lolly, and I think that's kind of where it would fit in the rainbow, but it would be up to you whether you need this in your collection or not. I'm just showing you kind of where it fits so you can kind of make that decision for yourself. I love it. I think it's a cooler yellow than your Daffodil Delight. It's about the same tone, except it's maybe a little bit more muted, not quite as bright as Daffodil Delight. And as I said, it's cooler. It's more on the cool spectrum like Lemon Lolly. So it has a little more gray in it, I think. So anyway, that's how it fits. So we're going to be using Darling Duckling for my card today. So let's go ahead and get into the stack, cut, and shuffle technique. So we're going to be using, to decorate the cards, I'm going to be using the Paper Tags bundle. This is a brand new bundle in the online exclusives from Stampin' Up! I have a link to this in the description of the video, so you can check that out, give it a little closer look. It has these wonderful kind of chalkboard sketchy sentiments, and then the die set creates is a layer for the bread tag. You can actually double layer it, so you can cut the bread tag out with one die and then layer it onto another die, and it's really, really pretty layered up. Then it also has this little bobbin shape, which is nice for the Just For You sentiment, fits in there perfectly. You can die cut that with one of the dies, and then it has a stitched layer for a second layer onto that. These also work beautifully as little bobbin winders for ribbon. If you're a demonstrator watching this video and you do classes, you could use these to cut and wrap ribbon around them to include in your card kits. So that's also kind of a fun idea. It also comes with a detail die that will cut out the little banner here on the May Your Day Be Filled with Sunshine and Laughter. The Your Day is a banner, and you can cut that out to glue to your card. And then it has a little insert that you can include in either of the bobbins when you die cut them. You can add that at the top, and it turns your little bobbin shape into a tag by adding a tiny little slot for a ribbon. So just a couple of a little closer look at the details of this little die set. And this would actually be lovely by itself. You don't even really need the stamp set to go with it. The stamp set is just a super bonus, I think. I really love the sentiments here. You can get some nice birthday cards, some thank you notes, and just some general thinking of you cards out of this bundle. So we're going to be using that to decorate. I'm also going to be using, since it's an in color themed blog hop, we're going to be using the Darling Duckling designer series paper, the designer series paper for the In Color collection. So this has all the different colors in it. I pulled some sheets from Darling Duckling. You're going to need 3 sheets if you're crafting along with me. I pulled this pattern as my A side pattern, and then 2 B side patterns, the stripes and the little splotches. So that's what we're going to be using. We're also going to use some of the In Color flat pearls, which are beautiful, and some of the faux linen ribbon in Darling Duckling, of course, to add some extra texture to the finished cards. So in order to do this technique, we need to stack, cut, and shuffle in that order. So the stack are 3 sheets of designer series paper. I like to choose an A side and then 2 B sides. So no matter what paper you're using, as long as your papers all coordinate, you're good to go. So we're going to stack these together, and the first thing we're going to do is cut them. So we're going to cut them to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. 3 3/4. Wasn't very good. By 5 inches. So I'm cutting my whole stack all at once. And then these are extra pieces that you can just leave to the side and use for other projects, okay? So now I have my little stack. I'm gonna lay the short edge at the top of the trimmer at the 2 1/4 inch mark. So I'm gonna put it at 2 1/4 inches and cut it. Then I'm gonna set this stack aside because this is finished. And then I'm gonna take this narrow stack and I'm gonna turn it so that the long edge is at the top of the trimmer at the 2 1/2 inch mark. And I'm gonna cut it again. Now I have 2 stacks. I've got one that's slightly larger than the other. I'm gonna take the smaller stack and I'm gonna turn it so that the long edge is at the top of the trimmer, and I'm gonna shave 1/8 of an inch off. So I'm using the right side of my cutting blade, and I'm just gonna line it up with that first line on the trimmer, and I'm just going to shave a little bit more off, and that's what's going to give us the gap between these 2 pieces when they're arranged on the card front. Okay, so now all your cutting is done. We're going to set this aside, and now we're going to do the shuffle. So we did the cutting, we did the stacking, the cutting, and now we're going to shuffle. Okay, so we're going to take the top little right hand stack, and we're going to put the first sheet behind the stack, just like that. Then for the lower section, we're going to put the first sheet and the second sheet behind. So we're going to layer those 2 up like that. And now you have your little your stacks in the right configuration. We're going to pull in the the layer mats. So you should have 3 pieces that measure 4 by 5 1/4. I actually cut 6 of these because I like to have a layer inside my card, so I'll save those for later. But these pieces can be a color that coordinates with your cardstock, your designer series paper, or they can be a neutral. And so I picked white as my neutral. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to layer up our first base. So we're just going to layer these kind of as they're shown. I'm going to take the first piece and just add some adhesive to the back, and then layer that to the left side of my panel. And I want to leave a little border around the edge. Then we'll go with the top piece. We're going to layer this in, again leaving a little border around each of the pieces. And then we'll take the bottom piece. Just like that. And we've got our first layer. And then we'll do the same thing with the remaining pieces. This is fun because you can actually get 3 handmade cards made kind of all at once. Or if you want, you could just save these bases and add them to a finished card at another time. But at least you have some of the work already done. And now I'll do the third one. So by cutting that 1/8 inch off that second little stack, we create enough space so that there can be a little gap between these 2 pieces. Otherwise they would touch and you'd only have one gap in the center. So it really depends on the look that you're going for. But this is what you get when you do the stack, cut, and shuffle technique. you get 3 card bases that are kind of all shuffled around, where all the patterns are present, but just in different quantities and on different pieces. So let's go ahead and finish one of the cards. Well, actually, we'll just finish all 3 of them. We may as well. So here are my card bases. Now for your card bases, you just need 3 standard card bases. They can be a left side fold like this one. They can be a top side fold like this one, or they can even be a fun fold, which in this case, I did a top fold and just cut off a chunk of the bottom. So let's go ahead and put these together. Oops, I'm gonna get my bone folder out here and just give this a nice crisp fold so that it lays flat. And then we're just I'm gonna use flat adhesive, tape adhesive, to add this to the base card. You can add your layers with dimensionals if you prefer. I know mine will be going through the mail, so I want to keep that layer kind of flat. And then for this one, do the same thing. Just gonna go ahead and use my bone folder on this first to get a nice crisp top fold. And then I'll layer this panel right on the front very simply. And then for this one, I'm just gonna add adhesive to the top part of the back layer so that I don't glue my card shut. Just like this. And then we can add the inside layers as well. So I've got 3 more panels cut to 4 by 5 1/4. 3 of the white panels, and then I cut some of the Designer Series paper to 4 by 3/4 inches. I just used one of the scraps, and I like to layer on a little piece on the inside to bring some of the inside pattern, the outside pattern to the inside of the card. It just helps to finish it off a little bit nicer. And then I have room to stamp whatever I want on there, although I would probably leave these just blank so I can write my own little message. So this is very quick and easy card making. Let's go ahead and add these layers to the inside of the card. Just like that. Okay, and then we can go ahead and decorate the front. So for a couple of them, I've already made the embellishments, but let me just show you how I did one of them, just so you have an idea. So in case you're using a different type of sentiment that doesn't include one of these with the die cuts and everything, I just used the Stylish Shapes dies, and I cut the second to largest square in white cardstock, so it has a nice stitched edge. That square measures about 2 3/8. So I cut a black square that measures 2 1/2 so that it will layer on top of that nicely. So let's go ahead and stamp that. I've got it already mounted on my block, and I'm going to use some Memento black ink. I'm just going to kind of wiggle this onto my block and then tap it so I get a good coating of ink. And then to line this one up, you've got words that are kind of going in different directions. I use the word wonderful, and I line it up with the top of my block to make sure that my words are relatively straight on here, because it can be a little distracting, and that seems to work well. Then I'm going to go ahead and use some tape runner to layer this onto the, I'm gonna go ahead and use some tape runner to layer this onto my little matte panel here that I cut with my trimmer. Then we're gonna go ahead and take the, I'm gonna take my Crop-A-Dile. You can use any kind of hole punch for this. And I'm gonna cut a hole right in the center. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it and just cut a hole in the center of this. And I'm gonna bring in my Faux Linen Ribbon. This is an acrylic ribbon, but it has like kind of a faux linen texture to it. It's just a bit shinier than linen. And you can tell it's synthetic. It's not a natural fiber like linen is, but it's very pretty. It's a very light ribbon. I think it'd be very easy to tie onto boxes and packages. Would be really cute, like treat holders. And it's cute for card making too. This is one of my favorite ways to add ribbon to a card. I've got some of the white baker's twine from the Essential Baker's Twine pack in the annual catalog. And I'm just going to tie a little bow here to make this little panel a little bit more of an embellishment. I like the way that adding ribbon and twine together adds a nice texture to your card making. All these textures just add some visual interest. And I'm just going to get some scissors here, trim that off. And I'm going to trim off the ends a little bit too because they frayed a tiny bit. So I'm just going to trim those up nicely, like that. And then we can add this to our card panel. So let's go ahead and pull in some dimensional adhesive, and we'll pop this layer up. Onto the front of our card. And the nice thing is that you can really embellish these cards however you want, with as much or as little embellishment as you like. I'm going to keep this one kind of simple, and I'm just going to kind of arrange it toward the bottom right corner of my card base like that. And then I'll add a couple of the gems just to finish it off in this beautiful Darling Duckling color, since that's the theme of my card. And these little flat pearls are perfect for cards that you want to mail because they don't bump up, so they're very pretty and nice and flat, but they add a nice extra little shine to the card making. So it's a really pretty birthday card. I can't wait to send that to somebody and really brighten their day. I feel like this duckling color is so cheerful. So let's just quickly finish up the rest of these. I've already stamped the embellishments. So I've got another one here. This one I'm just going to center on my card just to show you how just the different placement makes the cards all look a little bit different, even though you're using the same supplies. And of course you can mix and match these as much as you want to. This is such a fun little way to make a card. So this one I'm just going to kind of center it on the card, top to bottom and left to right, like that. So that's a little bit different. And again, I'm going to add some of these gems. For another bit of visual interest. And then the last one I'm going to use, I already pre-stamped and die cut one of the bread tags, and we're going to add this to the layer. We'll add this one onto the fun fold. And we'll just pop this one up. And I think I'm just going to lay this one a little bit, well, I think I'll center this one as well. That would look kind of pretty on there. I'm going to put it a little bit more toward the bottom just so that these ribbons still fit within the envelope. And now you've got this cute little fun fold and another cute little birthday card. And then your last birthday card. So I really hope that you enjoyed my little demonstration here. And if you've never participated or tried the stack, cut, and shuffle technique, I hope that you will give this one a try. It's really fun. This is a gorgeous color. Again, this is Darling Duckling. I hope you've enjoyed the blog hop so far and that you'll continue hopping to see what some of the other North Carolina demonstrators are creating with these beautiful colors. And I'll look forward to catching you next time. Thanks so much for watching.